guys and gals, Xavier here for Hum of the Earth. Signing in from just outside the town of Musina in South Africa, where I'm very excited for today, because today we'll begin to discover a new African nation, Zimbabwe. A country with a very interesting history. It used to be called South Africa's breadbasket because it had a lot of fertile land, a lot of agriculture, and the economy was doing pretty well. And it was also considered one of the kind of easiest and safest countries to travel to as a tourist going to Africa. But I'm not an expert on the topic. From what I've been told, a lot of the farms were actually owned by people who weren't native, or at least weren't originally, like, their family from Zimbabwe. So people of lighter complexion. And some people started seeing them, including some people, you know, running the country, started seeing them as kind of an oppressing class, maybe. And people running the country kind of encouraged behavior that led to all these people owning the farms fleeing the country, which had a profoundly negative impact on the economy, which led to hyperinflation of the currency. Like hyperinflation, like adding 10 zeros. So actually, just like a few months ago, Zimbabwe scrapped their currency and has just implemented a new one. So I was reading about that last night. So what I've done in preparation for this is I've gotten out as much rand as not as much rand as I could, but a decent amount of rand from which is the South African currency, and I have some kind of emergency US dollars that I keep with me as well. So hopefully that will be get me by, because I have heard that just getting access to currency in Zimbabwe can be pretty difficult. So hopefully I'll be okay on that end. So we got a bit of maybe 10 kilometers to bicycle, and then we'll be getting to the border, where I will hopefully obtain a visa for entering Zimbabwe. Easy stamp out of South Africa. Leaving a country is typically not difficult. Entering can be a bit more taxing, literally. So someone from the Zimbabwe army just waved me over and asked me to see my passport, which I was a little hesitant about, because he's obviously not a border official. So because I suspected that maybe he would get my passport and then ask money for me to get it back, but thankfully when I told him that I'm planning to bicycle through Africa, I guess I don't know if he intended to ask me for money, but he didn't. So that was good, especially good since I got a gut punch at the actual border. $75 US for Canadians, the most out of any country. I'd heard it was 30. That's what it is for the US. So after I got my visa for Zimbabwe, I was swarmed by some cash exchangers. So I ended up exchanging the equivalent of 200 US. Maybe lost $14, up to $14 from what I had read online, but who knows if I could have actually gotten that rate anywhere. And also, like I said, I read that it's just hard to get currency in general, so didn't want to take any chances being stranded and having to use my emergency US dollars, which can be even harder to get. So thought to have that done. Don't know if that's enough to get across the country, but it'll last me for a while. Just been in South Africa for almost 3 months, and riding the highway here is a pretty different experience. There's a lot less traffic, and in South Africa the pavement was usually pretty good. Here, once again, one of the main highways going through the country can get spotty, and just kind of a lot less of everything. Makes me wish I had looked at the population of Zimbabwe, see how dense it would be. Hello. Hello, you're on the video. Is there anything you want to say? So this is the best place to get oranges on this highway. Okay. Bye bye. Bye bye. Yeah, this definitely seems a lot more like Africa I had in my head before I got here. So I managed to find a place to stay at a highway stop, and they let me pay in rand, which was nice. Pretty nice room, tea and coffee included. And I guess I'm taking a bath tonight. Show you a nice beer with my new friend.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice camera.
Yeah, thank you. And the road gets thinner and thinner. I think we'll still have a good day in Zimbabwe. So my new friend that I met in the motel restaurant was actually a police officer, because there was a roadblock there in front of the motel, which I've seen already quite a few of in Zimbabwe. And we had some interesting conversations. He had some interesting things to say about some prominent organizations in Zimbabwe, but all that will have to be off the record, since he didn't specifically tell me to say that stuff on a public platform. So, but if you want to find out more, I'm sure you can look into it yourself, and yeah, there's some interesting things going on. So if you've been following the channel, you might know that I've been bicycled through quite a few countries, a lot of which have roadblocks like Mexico, Colombia, and just South America in general, and Central America. And I mentioned there was quite a few here as well, here in Zimbabwe. And believe it or not, I've never like really been stopped to like look at my passport and ask questions about being questioned and stuff like that, ever. I just usually nod and just keep going at the roadblocks and never really stop. And this time I was nodding at the guys, but I kind of like stared at this one guy for I guess too long, and then he waved me over. I've been planning a big day, so didn't really appreciate the fact that he had to go through, get my passport, which is like deep in my things, and asked a bunch of questions and stuff like that, like I'm entering the country. So next time it'll be a very short nod and look straight on the road forward and keep moving. Hello. Hello. And there's a town with a shop in Zimbabwe. You stop. Don't know when the next one will be. So hello. Hello. I already ate, thank you. Good, good. Hello. Hello. Oh. Selling what? Okay, no, thank you. Yeah. So I actually ended up getting the coordinates for the local lunch spot, where I got a plate with beef, vegetables, and cornmeal for well, I had the choice to pay in Zimbabwe bond notes for the equivalent of less than $1, or paying in rand for about $1.50, which is a great price. Finally, that expensive Zimbabwe visa starting to pay off. So I ended up using these Zimbabwe bond notes because it was cheaper. And then the same thing happened in the store I went to. So it seems like in different areas, at least from tomorrow compared to today, there's seemingly a different perception of what the notes are worth. So glad that I have both currencies right now, so I can use whichever ends up being the cheapest. Starting to get a change in environment, and I like it. So this is the town of Ugundu, where once again we'll be staying in a motel. Even cheaper this place, 90 bond. Not as nice though, but it will do the job.
And I was brought breakfast in bed, so can't complain.
Morning. Morning. Hello. Yeah. Morning. Last travel day until Masvingo, where I hope to end up at the end of today in 95 kilometers. And it should be a bit of a tougher 100 kilometers than the other days, given the change in environment that we started seeing late yesterday. A little bit more mountainous, but also a little bit more beautiful. Should be a nice one. So we've made it to Masvingo, Zimbabwe's oldest city. Which used to be called Fort Victoria, back when Zimbabwe was called Fort Rhodesia, when it was a British colony. So I was hoping to get some work done here, videos, etc. Since there wasn't any internet in the other places I previously stopped at. I was told there would be some here, but since I arrived last night and this morning, there hasn't been any internet. Any electricity. And apparently that's a common thing here. So I'm not actually sure if this is the right place to stop a little bit and do work if there's not going to be any electricity. So I don't know if to wait it out and do what I can when the electricity comes back on, or to move on, because maybe the shortages in electricity are just across the country, which I've also heard. But I've also heard that since it's such an old city with old infrastructure, etc., that maybe the problem is worse here. Regardless, I will spend a little bit of time here. Maybe do a video of the city. And maybe of the nearby Great Zimbabwe ruins, which are supposed to be the biggest and most intact ruins in southern Africa. So that seems pretty interesting. And there's also the Kyle Nature Reserve close to that, so that I might do both of those in one trip. We'll see. One thing's for sure, I will definitely try to take out some cash here. Don't know that I'll be successful, but I think I have to give it a try, as most places don't accept credit cards. And I've realized with all the cool things to do in Zimbabwe, I'm going to be spending more time than anticipated, so I definitely need to get some money somehow. So that'll be an adventure of its own. And I'd like to quickly shout out Jeremy, my first Patreon, who did a generous Patreon pledge for Hum of the Earth. So big thanks to Jeremy, keeping the journey alive. If you also enjoy the videos of my journey bicycling through Africa, and maybe those of my journey bicycling from Canada to Argentina, which are already on the channel, and you'd like to support Hum of the Earth, you keep going and keep making videos, I'm putting a link to my Patreon in the description below the video. Thanks in advance to anyone who pledges, and I hope that you enjoyed this journey bicycling through southern Zimbabwe. Definitely cool. The people are very nice. And after the videos of exploring Masvingo and of the Great Zimbabwe ruins, we'll be heading into eastern Zimbabwe, which is was the reason I came to Zimbabwe in the first place. Hello. It's supposed to be a very beautiful, if not the most beautiful part of the country. So I'm really looking forward to it. Definitely not going to want to miss that one. Should be pretty cool. And yeah, like I mentioned, this is all part of my journey bicycling through Africa, from Cape Town, South Africa, attempting to go all the way to Cairo, Egypt. If you'd like to see an interactive map of everywhere that I went and everything that I got to see and do, I have that available over on my website, followthehumoftheearth.com, where you can click on the different locations and see the blog posts and videos I've made of these places. And if you'd like to follow my continuing adventures, you can click on the red subscribe button below the video and click on the bell to be notified when new videos come out. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.